All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust for Monday, May 22nd, to order at 1:17 p.m. Could I have a roll call, please, starting with the Zoom?
Chaz Sexton Duranian.
Dave Worland.
Cindy Bounty.
And Veronica Kell. Beverly Napier is not able to be with us today. All right, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? No,
Not that I have.
nobody else?
No.
Okay. Minutes, I don't have minutes prepared, so we're gonna have to come back with these. I have to actually look and see what minutes are and aren't, because I found minutes that you had written, Cindy, which I don't know if we ever approved.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was a while
Yeah,
ago, so.
okay.
So we'll
Okay.
do minutes next meeting. So first item on the agenda is to elect officers for FY 2024. So we need a chairman, a vice chair, and a clerk. So are there any nominations or suggestions, or how do we want to do this? What do you guys think?
I don't know. Maybe we can, I don't know.
Well, I will tell you that I'm willing to chair
Oh, good.
if you guys are willing to have me as the chair.
That'd be good.
I'm willing
would
to
be good.
chair.
I second.
I move that we make Veronica chair of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay.
And Dave has seconded. BK is chair. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Oh, do we have to all do roll call because
I don't
you're,
think so. Just me.
okay, all right. So it's unanimous. We need a vice chair and we need a clerk. Should we make Beverly the clerk since she's not here?
Yeah, and she's actually very good at that.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you don't.
So we can voluntold her.
All right, so I move that our clerk be Beverly Napier.
Because she can always decline if she feels
She
she
can,
has to.
Yeah,
I think
and
she-
one of us will
I think
cover
she-
for,
She'll do it.
okay. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor of having Beverly Napier as clerk?
Aye.
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 Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
All right, unanimous. All right, and we need a vice chair. So who here would
Okay.
like to be the vice chair?
David would be good vice chair.
Because of the vice part?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, you got a psychologist here, so if you need it, you can.
All right, so Cindy nominates Dave Werlin as vice chair, and I will second that nomination.
I hope you don't mind that
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
All right, so we have our officers. I'll be the chair, Dave is the vice chair, and Beverly is our clerk. So thank you very much. And I will be, even though Beverly's the clerk, I'll get all the minutes up to date, up through today. And then Beverly will assume the role after that until
Okay.
we have a staff member who
Yeah,
can.
you can post the offices too, so that we can get that recorded.
Say
Please
that
and thank
again.
you. Don't
What
you
do
have to
mean by that,
post the
Sarah?
offices so that we can get that recorded?
Who am I posting them to? The registry of deeds?
Yeah.
More money into that CPA fund.
I'm telling you.
So the slate of offices gets posted at the registry of deeds?
Pretty much everything that we
That
That
do.
we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is of an official nature, not our
Mhm.
minutes or anything
Not
like
that,
that.
okay,
But
okay.
while we're talking about the posting things, I was gonna look at the website that we have for TAHT, make sure it's updated, and for posting minutes and agendas and things, I would like Harrison to keep those on our page. Do you think we can do that, Chaz?
Yeah, we can do that. We're,
Okay.
right now, we're kind of reevaluating some of his hours, Veronica, until we get into fiscal year 24.
Right.
So we're kind of doing some shuffling. So whatever we
Okay.
need, let me know, and I'll put that in with whatever he's working with.
Okay. And are we doing the new web page? I mean, is that part of this too?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Or the new, web page for the town. All right. Well, I'll take a look at it and see what needs to be done and let Harrison know or let you know, and you can, get it to Harrison when the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts because as I expected, all of the IT things seem to be happening all at the same time, just so you know. So the
Okay.
wiring, the shop, the bookcases you noticed, all of that stuff is happening all at the same time.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll look at the web page and I'll get updates to Harrison and we'll go from there
Okay.
whenever it's possible. If it's not till, the fiscal year is July 1st and this is already the end of May, so.
Right.
All right. Items from last meeting, moving on to 2.2. We had forestry possibilities, which you were going to look at, Dave. We were looking at our, Chaz, in case you aren't aware of this, we were looking at our 6 properties to see if there's possibilities for forestry, one, to manage the properties that we do have, and 2, to get additional funds into the coffers for affordable housing. So,
Like selective cutting and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
yeah. So,
So you want to hear about that?
yeah. So Dave, if you want to.
All right, so I started out by trying to determine the best outfit to reach out to. We've done business with Bay State in the past, and as it turned out, I reached out to Don Masuko, who was like the town arborist,
Mhm.
and Don said, "Oh yeah, definitely go to Bay State. That's a great option." The principal at Bay State, when we worked with him, had passed away, and his
Right.
right-hand guy had
Eric.
moved on, Eric.
Mhm.
So, but I reached out to them anyway. Talked to a nice man named Mike Barry.
Oh, I know him.
And he was very kind about declining because they are just overwhelmed with business right now. And they said, to be honest, we couldn't get to you for quite some time. So he referred me to a logger named Kyle Anderson, who's relatively local. I think he might be a Westminster. I forget where he is. He's a little west of us.
He's
And I
Western
spoke-
Mass.
Yeah, and I spoke with him, and he said yes, he'd be very interested in doing a site visit, and just to let him know when we'd like to get together with him and show him whatever parcel or parcels we feel he might be interested in bidding on. So that's where that's at. So it's just a matter of if we decide we want to have him do a site visit, just take a look at what our schedule is, his schedule, and do a walkthrough.
Okay, so what do you guys think? I'm thinking as far as parcels go, the South Row Road, the one where we're gonna have Ross Associates look at that. The one up on Wallace Hill, the large property there. The others,
They're small and they may not be that interesting.
right. So those are the 2 larger properties that I would think would be worth looking at.
Jazz?
I think those 2 large ones, yes. And I think maybe we could even just give him just a consult on the other ones if he thinks that that's even something that we need to look into. Because I'm sure he could Google it and take a peek at at it aerially, from the air.
Okay, all right. So, Dave, if you want, just send him the location of our properties. And
So that he could do a Google Earth of them? Something like
yeah,
that?
to Google Earth them, tell them that we're definitely interested in Wallace Hill and South Row Road because they're the larger acreage properties.
Mhm.
And then look at the Dudley Road and I always forget, is it Blood Road Extension?
But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Wallace Hill is actually two properties, one on Haynes and the big one that has Haynes and the other. So that's two. South Row Road is one. Dudley and Blood Road is two parcels. So just ask him to take a look at them and ask him when he's available for site visits
Right.
in late June after you're back.
Okay.
When are you guys?
Um,
Late June.
17th.
Yeah, so late June for a site visit if he's interested.
Good.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, he was talking about, Mac Berry said that Kyle could coordinate one or more projects, I'm quoting this, where they do a harvest by prescription rather than marking each tree. Now, is that an issue?
I don't know what that means.
Well, when you have a forestry plan
Mhm,
and you go out there and you literally mark the trees that you're going to cut,
right,
and he would do it by prescription, meaning I think that as a logger, he's not doing a forestry management plan. He's more looking at mature trees and saying, okay, this one, we'll do these. They're not going to clear cut.
oh, no.
But it's
not
different
clear
from
cut.
having a forestry plan where you're saying, okay, we're going to keep this one
Yes.
here, but we're going to take these mature ones here. We're going to let these little saplings, get some more
Right.
lights. We're going to cut around them. And it's not a forestry plan like that.
I'd be okay with that because we aren't going to put a forestry plan on these because we plan to develop them.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah. That's why I think it's best for us to kind of look at it because whatever is decided, let's say for Dudley Road, for instance, he's already got an idea of what's going on so that he may be able to pull out whatever he can get money for us before we even go in to develop it.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly the idea.
That's what we're thinking. Yeah, that it's a way to use the money, use the lands to help us financially so that we can develop them into affordable.
And also
Absolutely.
a little bit of land at the same time. Doesn't
Right.
stump the trees, but it certainly makes it a little bit easier to visualize what you want to open
Right.
up.
Okay, all right. All right, so you will contact Kyle Anderson?
Yeah, I'll probably talk to you about because I don't have in my computer the plots.
Oh, I can send them.
I might have maps, but
Yeah.
if you send me a link, then I can just forward them to him and he can just open it up as opposed to having
Okay.
to scan and.
Okay. And today, all right. All right, I have been okay, moving on, unless there's anything else for forestry
Nope.
possibilities. The warrant signing policy, I have not written that yet, and that's on my plate, so sorry, I've been delinquent. So I will do that.
Well, you've been across the pond.
I have been. It was wonderful. All right, I'll work on that. And then banking options, that was yours, Dave.
I haven't had a chance to get over here. Is she
To
in
talk
today?
to. I don't know her hours.
Uh,
She's usually in, but
when
Sometimes
meeting's
not.
over, I'll stick my head in and see if she's
See if
available.
she's
She's
there.
not. This is an easy. I could do it on the phone with her. I should have. I just haven't.
yeah, not a problem. Same as me. And the other thing is, if you want to wait until the end of June, I'll send you what I have, but to work with Kyle, just let him know. I'll
Sure.
send you the link and
Yeah.
just let him know, and then we'll talk at the end of June.
Yep.
Okay, so what we were thinking on this, Chaz, just to get you up to speed since you are now our BOS rep, the handoff.
And we can talk.
I got sworn in today to be a regular citizen. Anyway, we have, I forget the name of it's in one of the regular municipal banks that does municipal banking that our ARPA funds are. And Dave was thinking, since if you look at our budget, there's like 50K that we will expend in FY '24, and then the other 50K isn't anticipated to be spent until the following year, if you look at our 5-year plan. And he thinks we should look for something high interest.
It seems like there's just a checking account. So why not take 50K that's not going to be used for quite a while and put it into a savings account? If they offer that at that bank, I would imagine they would. Maybe buy a 13-month CD or an 8-month CD or whatever at 5%. It's it's a couple $1,000s for free, basically.
Yeah, the Workers Credit Union, I don't know if they are still offering it, but they had a 18-month CD for 5%, which you're not going to see much of that. Because I know I personally took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if municipal funds, there might be rules around, we're in like Unibank or something
Yeah,
like
something like
that.
that. And that bank specializes in municipal funds. And that's why maybe I need to get educated by Melissa or whoever that, how that works, because there may be just certain constraints on municipal accounts. It seems
No,
to me.
they certainly can point us in the right direction on what to put in.
Yeah.
So
it's
I
an
think that's a
question.
great
I just
idea.
haven't gotten to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. We'll get there.
I know if you can go to regular banks, Capital One Street Savings 4.5%.
Yeah, I don't think we
Without
can
tying
though. I
it
think we're
tied to
constrained.
it.
We're constrained by that. And also I think all of the town's accounts are with that bank. So it's probably smart to
Have to-
keep this with it too.
Yeah.
But,
Maybe
most
they
of the town's
maybe they have
accounts have
something else.
rolling, they need to have checking accounts, period, because
Yeah.
the money just keeps flowing in and
Mhm.
out. Whereas this is one where we know we've got a chunk of money that's not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah.
So why
So,
not put it in a higher
Keep it
interest?
somewhere.
Yeah. And I would think that Unibank would have that, but
I know.
We'll
What do you
find out.
think?
we'll find
Yeah.
out.
Okay, that's it for 2.2. Moving to 2.3, review the 5-year action plan and set goals and timeline for FY 2024. So this is page 19 of the trust strategy and timeline for current properties. And then also looking at our budget. So one thing I would like to do for June is to set wait a minute. Do I have that? Hang on a minute. Is to set a meeting time for later in the month with the with the Housing Authority, so that we could both submit. So this is late June, so that we could both submit a job description for the position that we want for housing, and get that posted, because we can't hire it until July 1st because of the fiscal year and the budgeting, but late June with the Housing Authority. So it's for a job description for housing person. Unless the BOS is putting that together, but I'm expecting it would be the Housing Trust and the Housing Authority who would.
I would rather, and then suggest it to the selectmen, and then we'll put it together per your suggestion.
Okay, so this is an agenda item for a joint housing authority, is a job description for the housing person that was voted at town meeting. And then the other thing that, if you look at our FY 2024 property timeline, redo the plan of land, including wetland delineation for South Row Road. And we would want to, so I think we should start talking to Ross Associates even before we have a person in place. to look at that plan. We're probably going to have to do a wetland delineation. And and we should discuss what sort of housing we want on that. I'm thinking 55 and over market rate as one possibility, with a quarter of it affordable. And we have to decide whether we wanted still the building with, 3 units in each building, or do we want tiny homes, smaller homes. The housing network tells us that you have to have at least 20 units for a developer to be interested.
Right.
And I would like to see something that has garages available for people.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Was there ever a wetlands delineation plan for that parcel done?
there was,
How many years ago?
it was done 15 to 20 years ago.
How
I think
many-
it was
how-
2007.
How many acres is that?
20 acres,
Okay.
if I'm right. Hang on, let me go to
On
back
South
page,
Row
one
Road?
page. Yeah, South Row Road, 18.375 acres. So, and this is one that we're gonna do a cut on. So,
That'll pay for the delineation.
right, that will pay for the delineation, exactly. Although we did budget for it to
Yeah.
be part of what we're doing. Then Haynes Road, the survey and A&R to divide for sale to Mass Fish and Wildlife. So I'm thinking forestry first. So July would be forestry. Get that in place. In the fall, do any surveys and wetland delineations for these 2 properties.
Now, isn't the Conservation Commission talking about some changes to the wetland delineations and all of that stuff? Does that have any effect on what we're doing?
No, those
No?
are all the regs. I read through them. They all seemed rather reasonable to me, but it
Okay.
doesn't change anything that we're doing.
But, okay.
Of course, we would be subject to, whatever the rules and regs are for the town.
Right.
So when we do hire Ross, if that's who we hire, that's who did it before. But we'll have to decide whether that makes sense. So, they would have to go before the planning board and the conservation, just like anybody else would.
Okay.
And those regs would apply there. So, and then, so that's kind of what, and July is forestry and hire an associate, or whatever you want to call it, hire a housing person,
Admin.
an admin. Thank you. So that's July, August timeframe, forestry and hiring an admin person. Fall for any surveys and wetland delineations and plans with Ross Associates.
Yep.
So, anybody else have anything else for this? Survey of 182 Warren Road for sale to Mass Fish and Wildlife. That's something that the BOS is working on, that the Housing Trust would be willing to jump in on to help pay if need be. But there was some funds put away by the BOS for these
Yes.
sorts of things.
Yes.
So may not have to come from affordable housing unless we're doing, well, that's another thing on the agenda for the Housing Authority. This would be things like Warren Road, which I'm Habitat for Humanity.
Yep.
Because
they're looking for projects right now.
then we should put
For-
Warren Road out there as a possibility and sell the
For
back.
2025, they're looking for projects.
That would be perfect. And the other thing is to talk about any condo availability for affordable housing.
Which there is a possibility for that.
So I guess my target would be, or our target might be, to look at springtime for getting a project rolling.
You know, that's what I'm thinking as you're
Of 24.
going through all these
F20,
things
yeah.
that we could,
Well,
Would
that's
we be
a good
ready?
goal.
I know.
Okay, spring 2024, have a project rolling. So meaning we have something scoped out, you know, with a wetland delineation and a plan, and we're at the point where we look for someone to work with us.
I know.
Shovel ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
That we market. And then that will give us, that would be a good time then to reevaluate our budget for the following year to see what we have in the coffers, if there have been sales of Fish and Wildlife of any of these properties. And what funds we get from forestry, what we have available for development purposes,
And if the warrant goes through.
right? Okay, so the other thing, anything else as far as time?
No, Ronnie, I think you came home from England, you're on fire here. You got this all like. So, okay.
So we're rolling right
Yeah.
along. All right, the other thing I would like to do is to get on the agenda for planning board, ZBA, conservation, any other board in town, probably council on aging. I should be writing these down as I'm speaking them. To do a discussion about the Community Preservation Act.
Yes. I think that's a really good idea.
Who else should I talk to?
All right. Planning, zoning.
COA, Planning Board, ZBA, Conservation. Who else?
I think we should see if we could go into a department head meeting or something like that. We need to talk to the building department.
Mm,
I can talk to Eric about that department head meeting. The other thing, I mean, I read this in the Globe while I was in England, that towns are looking to put a surcharge for affordable housing on sales of properties.
I saw that
Which is
too.
an alternative if we can't get Community Preservation Act passed. An alternative would be a surcharge on sales of properties that is targeted for affordable housing. I mean, if your community claims to want affordable housing, but then they choose not to fund it in any way,
yeah.
they are not getting affordable housing, which then puts the town in jeopardy for other funding for things, you know?
Well, my how do I put this? I think that the Community Preservation Act would have passed had it not been, as usual, some misinformation that was being passed around in regards to it. Some people thought that their taxes were going to be increased like $4,000 or whatever, which I don't know where that came from, but I think if we approach this with going to the boards and committees, like you said, Veronica, going to having some public forums where we're inviting maybe other towns that have community preservation can talk about what they've done with their particular funds and
how they
had
got
they
it,
not
and how they
had
got
the
it
ability. What's that?
And how those other towns got it approved, if they met with certain resistance and how they were able to overcome that and educate people.
Yeah,
I think
Yep.
that's a really good idea to reach out to a couple other towns.
yeah. And even if they can talk about the benefits, because I think I don't think anybody, well, some of us understood, but you're right. There was so much misinformation at town meeting on that whole thing that it was really kind of bad. And so
But Cindy, this happens every time we talk about affordable housing in this town. Is
Yeah.
that there's an undercurrent of misinformation that I've been doing this for 8 years trying to get something built in Dudley Road. So it was like I kept on getting shot down, and the Affordable Housing Trust was that we got to get that to get it outside of the voting populace so that at least we can move forward with something. And I don't know. We need to get to people's understanding that affordable housing means housing for teachers, housing for firemen, housing for police officers. These are the affordable clients that are there. Elderly that want to downsize, and are living on fixed incomes. They want to stay within the town. So I think having more public forums and just having a roundtable with individuals, getting on the Towns and Business Association meetings and talking with them about it.
Yeah.
They just getting out there and just starting to talk about it so that when it gets to town meeting, people have heard enough about it that they don't want to hear us anymore and they vote for it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I know. I think it's something that should start and it's, to just put information out. And, that's one of the problems. I know we've talked about it before, is how do you get information out in the town? We don't have a newspaper. We don't have, how do you get this information out? So I think that maybe we should work on a strategy of, going back to the old days, a townwide mailing or something that goes out every couple of months to say, hey, this is what we're working on. This is why we're doing it. This is how it will help us. These are the benefits of doing this. This is how much it will cost. And like you said, just keep kind of hammering away at it with, and so that people will understand it, so that then when someone stands up and says something like, yeah, it's going to cost me $4,000 more, because there were people in front of me at town hall that were like, at town meeting that were like, do you realize that I'm going to have to pay this increase on a $500,000 market value home? And I was like, no, that's not how it works. But there was just so much stuff out there that, so yeah, I think we got to work
None
on
of them read that lovely example on in that paper I wrote,
Just gonna say, Veronica, it's all about that handout, isn't it?
I'm telling you.
Well, I think the other thing too that outside of getting the information out and getting the right information out is that we have to get, like Veronica said, the boards and committees to understand what this is, because we had individuals on boards that had already agreed to sign on to the CPA that were talking against it. It's like it doesn't work that way. If you're on the planning board has a master plan that says yes, we agree with it. The housing authority has, in our housing production plan, we need to have a CPA for town. So these other boards need to understand that even though it was a previous board, they have to agree with it and they shouldn't be speaking against it, because it's all part of what we're supposed to be like.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a good point. I know. This is just kind of an aside, because I think, because even on the warrant, like, no, in any of the articles, like, no one said like who put it forward, like the CPA, on the warrant, like there was no indication. This is the board of selectmen supports this. FinCom supports this, or, there was no unity. So I think that's another problem. So yes, I think we have to work with department heads and maybe start peddling this at meetings on a regular basis so that everyone understands what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so it's on the list of timelines. CPA show, July through the spring.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
try again at town meeting. mailings, townwide mailings, TBA. I'll talk to Eric and see if we can get on a department head meeting as a topic. Here is why, here is what it is, here is how it works. And we'll do that first, maybe.
Yep.
And then go from there to each of the boards.
Yep, so that they know if they get phone calls, they can answer those questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
We should probably go. I think I can volunteer for this. We should go to meetings
Yeah,
and get on the agenda and be like, okay, this is
I
what,
agree.
so.
Yeah, we'll do the department head meeting first. That's a during the daytime thing with Eric,
Oh,
if he
really?
agrees.
Okay, yeah.
And then get on each board's agenda for some time over the summer when
Yep.
we're
Yeah.
available. And, whoever of us can go to talk with them. And we should look at what kind of leaflets, information.
Yeah,
We have the
yeah.
one, but what else we can put
Mhm.
together. So, all right. So timeline, I've got CPA show, forestry and hiring and admin. Getting on in June with the Housing Authority for an agenda to talk about stuff. In the fall, the goal is to, by then, have forestry underway, do surveys, wetland delineations, and a plan for at least one of our properties.
Okay.
Probably one of our properties, and probably starting with South Row Road because that's already been
Mhm.
looked at, and there is a plan, an existing plan that we could
Right.
modify. And we'll have to make decisions as to how we want to modify. Like what are our goals? All right, does that take care of the 5-year plan, set goals and timeline?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
I know.
Okay. By spring 2024, have a project in the works and work on our next steps for the following fiscal year and what we need to get going at town meeting. All right. Was there a regional housing network meeting? Did you go?
I didn't because Paul finally had surgery. I know. So I know. I was like, I didn't do any of those things.
That's okay.
So,
Neither did I.
okay.
All right, so we'll pick up. Is anybody going to go to the June meeting that MHP
Oh,
does? I was going
I
to sign up.
registered, but
You
everything got
registered?
thrown off because of, because I'm
Okay, so
I'm
I
my
need to
patient,
register
but
for
he's
that.
getting better. So
We can't go because we're out of,
You're going,
country.
okay.
I know what day, I forget what day it is, but
It's June 14th
June-
and 15th.
yeah,
One
I
of them
did
is
register for
in
that.
person and one of them is online, I think.
Oh, okay, I registered for the online one because I didn't
Okay.
know what are you gonna do the in-person? or-
I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
look at what's
Yeah,
on
what's
the
on the, yeah,
agenda for those 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, but I'm planning to do it. So,
okay, okay,
And,
that's, yeah, and I should be able to do that without any problem, that's,
Okay, so if you and I are there, that's good enough. Chaz, I assume you're working, so aren't going to that. The MHP, their housing conference in June. Dave and Beverly aren't available.
Is it the first week in June?
No, it's the second week, 14th and 15th. Might even be the third. I think the first week of June is like a half. And then it's.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm going to be out. My big seminar thing is the first week in June, and I don't know mentally how I'm going to be to do the following week. So,
Well, Cindy and I are going to go. We'll get what information we can.
okay, I mean that's a really good. There's a lot of good information there.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think you went last year, didn't you?
I did the online one.
The
I
online.
did the Zoom one. We can
Okay.
start checking out like developers and stuff too, maybe.
Right, talking to
know.
people.
Yeah,
So, okay. I did get something for the Regional Housing Network. I will plan to attend in June, their June meeting.
oh, okay,
So that's that. All right, I think that I've covered everything that we had on the agenda. We just need to set meeting dates for June. I have set meeting dates for summer 2023. I kind of wanted to do that did I not bring my calendar?
here's
No.
here's the calendar.
did we have June 26th?
We might have talked about that.
I have that written down in my notes.
Okay,
I don't know.
let me look at that. And then when does the Housing Authority meet, Chaz?
It looks like we're trying to put together June 1st.
June 1st. That's like next week.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had one scheduled, I think, for the 25th, but Courtney couldn't make it. So that's what I was looking at. There was back and forth emails this weekend, and I was like, it was too much information overflow for me.
Well, let's do June 26th for our meeting for the trust.
Yeah,
And then I will let them know that that's when you guys are doing it.
And we're going to do 1 p.m., Chaz, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So June 26th, 1 p.m. is TAHT. And then we'll talk with the Housing Authority and see, even if we could each submit separately. Most important thing is to get an admin on board for the next fiscal year. So maybe if we could both submit that last week of June, a job description to Eric, and then so we can finalize that on the 26th, and this will be on the agenda, job description to Eric, that we can give to Eric and onward to the BOS.
Eric will put it out to the,
Mhm. We can't hire anyway until after
Yep.
July 1st, so. All right.
Yeah,
and-
so why don't we do this? I'll ask for, the input, get something written and get it to you guys before the 26th from the Housing Authority.
That sounds good. That sounds good. And we should talk at some point about Habitat for Humanity. We really want to get on their list. So if you
Okay.
guys want to approach them about the Warren Road, I
Yeah,
know the BOS is kind of running that kind of with the Housing Authority. It's not really us, but we did have in our plan that we would pay for the survey for that, to cut off the piece of property for Fish and Wildlife, the backside of that, provided that the housing trust gets the funds from the state for that sale.
okay.
raised?
It hasn't been yet.
No, it's not yet. Yeah, thanks.
So, and.
Yeah, I'll see, I'll bring that up in the meeting.
Okay,
I think that's doable, actually. I know that Lori and I have already contacted them.
okay,
And
good.
yeah, where she is with that, because we did want to get on their list. So,
Okay. The other thing that at least I want to talk about with the Housing Authority is, so if we have these select properties that are town-owned that would be put on the affordable housing list, I thought it was the Housing Authority side to not manage that, but to find a management agency for that and to keep track of what houses are on and what houses aren't on.
correct.
And then to build up funds in the trust so that if we need to purchase a property because no one came forward to buy it at the affordable rate and we need to hold on to it for a while, the trust would provide funds for that to happen.
Correct.
That's how I see this working.
Yes.
So, okay, but we should make sure that we have everything, that we're all on the same page.
Mhm.
With, the things that we talked to Adam about in March.
Right. And I think it's that's the fiduciary responsibility of the Affordable Housing Trust to be able to retain these so that we don't lose them like before. And the
Exactly.
biggest thing is that when we do, that we both need to look at when and if something gets sold and where does those funding to go. We need to have a clear path that it goes directly to the Affordable Housing Trust as
Right.
opposed to anywhere else. That's the big thing.
So this is something that Darlene Sedano was talking about. Well, we've lost all these affordable housing. And then to get up and talk against, I don't know if she did, but to have people talk against the CPA, when in fact the town could not retain unless we have the funds to retain. There's a real disconnect in how all this works, a real misunderstanding.
And if it goes directly to the general fund, which is what has happened in the past, then the
It's
town
all
spends
set.
it. Yeah, the town spends it the way the town spends it instead of having it earmarked. We had, and I found out about this with the last project we had out at Dudley Road. Chapa had given us a $10,000 seed money for the next project, which is the available land at Dudley Road. And when I did all of the research to backtrack it, that $10,000 went into the general fund and it went to snow and ice. So it didn't even go to,
Exactly.
yeah,
Um,
it didn't
so-
even go to where it was supposed to go.
We have to ensure that things are in a row for
Yep.
things to happen so that we can have affordable housing in town. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so I think we're all set. I don't have anything else.
No, I don't either. I don't have anything either.
Good, and when I meet with the Housing Authority, Veronica, I'll send you over what our schedule is for the next couple of months so that we then can schedule accordingly.
Okay, do we want to look at dates for July and August? Just for planning purposes? I don't know if people have vacation plans.
We do, well, we have at least 10 days,
Yeah,
the beginning of August are gone. But,
I'm looking at late July, maybe the 24th, just to do tentative.
tentative is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
I've got
do
to
the
check with the
24th.
boss.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll go to June 26th, we have July 24th. So let's look at the end of August.
Yeah, August
So
28th.
are you penciling the 24th of July?
Penciling in the 24th of July,
Okay, got it.
And August
At
28th.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock, yep. And we'll do it the same way. It's what we've been doing with the Housing Trust, Chaz, is having TKM set up a link and then we broadcast it after the fact. So 28th, you guys?
Sure.
August 28th? Pretty much the last Monday of the month. And then we'll, if we have to adjust, we will.
August 21st,
28th.
28th.
the following Monday, okay.
So pretty much the last Monday of the month at 1 p.m. for the summer.
Well, it's during the day, so I want to get this on my business calendar here so that
Exactly, so that it's booked.
it's a TAHT session.
That's
So I have
what
you on my
it is.
counsel. I have you on my counseling calendar.
Excellent. Best way to do it.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn at 2:05?
Okay, I make a motion that meeting be adjourned at 2:05.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye,
Chaz Sexton-Duranian, yes.
excellent.
it's your name.
It is unanimous, so see you at the end of June.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much, guys.
All right, thank you.